he didn't need to break into Disney's systems. Prosecutors say he already knew exactly where to hurt them after he was fired. And the place they say he targeted wasn't a bank or a movie release server or a theme park ride. It was Disney's restaurant menu system. According to federal prosecutors, a former Disney employee was arrested in 2024 and accused of changing menu information, including allergy-related data, after losing his job. Then, investigators say he tried to bury the damage by flooding employee accounts with denial of service attacks to slow the response. That's what makes this case so unsettling. It wasn't just sabotage aimed at screens. It allegedly touched the kind of information families trust when they order food. If you like true crime tech cases where the danger comes from the inside, subscribe. Every week, I break down another real cybercrime from the documents, not just the headlines. The central question in this story is simple. When someone already knows the map, how much damage can they do before anyone realizes the threat is no longer outside the building? And honestly, what struck me when I read through the reporting on this case is how small the first changes can look. A field changed here, a menu item altered there. In a giant company that can hide in the noise. This is an insider threat case. Not the Hollywood version with glowing green text and some genius typing in the dark. Something colder, more believable. A fired worker, prosecutors say, allegedly turning company knowledge into a weapon. No need to discover where the weak spots were. He had allegedly already seen them from the inside. Disney's restaurant operations are massive. Menus, pricing, item details, ingredient notes, internal workflows, staff access, all of that lives inside systems that look boring until the moment they stop being trustworthy. And if allergy information is involved, this stops being a corporate embarrassment and becomes something with real-world stakes. Because think about the human side for a second. A parent ordering for a child with a severe allergy does not experience a menu as data. They experience it as reassurance, as safety, as a promise. What happens when that promise is tampered with? Federal prosecutors allege that after being terminated, the former employee accessed systems tied to Disney restaurant menus and made unauthorized changes. Reporting on the case says those changes included manipulated allergy information and other menu details. Investigators also allege he launched denial of service activity against employee accounts, essentially creating digital traffic jams to make cleanup harder. This is where the case gets unusually dark. Most people hear cybercrime and picture stolen credit cards or encrypted files. Here, prosecutors describe something more intimate: information sabotage. Not taking the system hostage for ransom, distorting trust inside a live service operation. And I think that matters. My view is that insider cases like this expose a blind spot a lot of companies still don't want to admit. The most dangerous access is often the access that used to be legitimate. The badge worked yesterday. The credentials made sense yesterday. The employee knew the workflows yesterday. Security teams spend years building walls against strangers and sometimes forget the blueprint is already in the hands of former insiders. If you were running a company this size, what worries you more in this case? The alleged tampering with allergy information? Or the fact that a fired insider could allegedly slow the response after the damage started? Tell me in the comments. The investigation, at least from the public reporting and charging documents, appears to have followed the oldest rule in digital forensics. Systems remember. People erase sloppily. Logs, account activity, timelines, changes tied to access, unusual behavior after termination, all of that begins to form a pattern. And in insider cases, the pattern can be even more revealing because normal access and abnormal intent overlap for a while. So picture the timeline. Someone leaves. Access should be locked down. Reviews should happen fast. Privileged accounts should be checked. Shared tools should be audited. If any part of that process drifts, even briefly, you get a dangerous window. Not forever, just long enough. How long is long enough when the person already knows the menu architecture, the internal tools, and the pressure points? Long enough to make defenders chase symptoms instead of causes. And that's where the alleged denial of service attacks matter in this story. A denial of service attack at a high level is an effort to overwhelm a target so normal use becomes difficult or impossible. In this case, prosecutors say employee accounts were jammed to interfere with the response. It's the digital equivalent of pulling the fire alarm while someone is already trying to stop a leak in the basement. Chaos as cover. When I looked at this case, one detail kept sticking with me. Not how sophisticated the alleged sabotage was, how targeted it was. That usually tells you something important. This wasn't about showing off. Prosecutors frame it as retaliation. A person allegedly aiming at systems he understood, where small changes could produce outsized confusion. There's a reason betrayal stories hit harder than intrusion stories. You expect an outside criminal to try the door. You don't expect the person who used to have the key to come back for the hinges. But there's another layer here that makes the case bigger than one firing and one alleged act of revenge. The most alarming part is not just that menu information was allegedly changed, it's that this kind of attack weaponizes operational trust. If employees can't trust what they see and guests can't trust what they order, the damage spreads far beyond the database. And ask yourself this: how many companies have internal systems that look too ordinary to protect, like, critical infrastructure? A menu platform, a scheduling tool, a supplier portal, a pricing dashboard. They don't sound dramatic until one of them becomes the scene of the crime. That's the insight this case leaves behind. The vulnerable asset is not always the most glamorous server in the building. Sometimes it's the everyday system people assume is harmless because it feels administrative. Then one angry insider shows you that boring systems can still sit next to health information, customer trust, and brand reputation. Public reporting tied the arrest to a former Disney employee accused of computer fraud-related conduct after his termination. The allegations drew national attention because of the claimed manipulation of allergen data and the effort to obstruct the fix. And once a case like that becomes public, the company isn't just dealing with incident response, it's dealing with a different question from the public. How close did this get to a real-world harm event? That question matters even if prosecutors never allege an actual physical injury, because near-miss cases change how people think. They expose where a business quietly relied on trust, speed, and routine instead of hardened controls. And this is where corporate cybercrime stops being abstract. Behind every internal system, there are workers trying to fix problems under pressure. There are guests making decisions in real time. There are parents reading ingredient notes. One manipulated field can travel surprisingly far once it leaves the screen and enters a human decision. If this case hit you the way it hit me when the allegations first surfaced, leave a like. Cases like this deserve attention because they show how insider threats can move from IT problem to public safety concern fast. The forensic trail, according to prosecutors, led back inside. And that's the part investigators love in cases like this. The moment a messy sabotage story stops looking random and starts looking personal. Privileged knowledge narrows the suspect pool. Timing narrows it more. Behavioral patterns narrow it further. Then the digital residue does the rest. This is why offboarding matters so much. Not as a boring HR checklist, as a security event. In my opinion, too many companies still treat termination as an administrative handoff, when it should be treated like a controlled shutdown of risk. Disable access, audit tokens, review integrations, watch for retaliation windows, confirm what still talks to what. Not because every fired employee becomes a threat, because the rare one who does can know exactly where to press. So the legacy of this case isn't just an arrest in 2024. It's the reminder that cybercrime doesn't always arrive as an external breach. Sometimes it walks out with a box on Friday and comes back through neglected access on Monday. I'm thoughtful, and the image that stays with me is strangely mundane. Not a server room, not handcuffs, a menu. A thing most people glance at for 10 seconds before ordering lunch. That's what makes this story so effective as true crime tech. The alleged weapon wasn't exotic, it was ordinary. The trust around it made it dangerous. Who should carry more responsibility in a case like this? The individual accused of sabotage, or the company that failed to close every door fast enough after termination? That tension is where the whole story lives. If you like true crime tech told from the evidence trail instead of the hype cycle, subscribe and join me here. The next case is another reminder that the most damaging attacks are often the ones hiding in plain sight.